and welcome. I'm Dr. Doug Kelley, and here with episode number 2 of 4, talking about the Life Leadership Paragon, a powerful model for realizing your full potential. In the last episode, we talked about self-acceptance as the starting point in the Life Leadership Paragon. And just to kind of refresh your memory, the Life Leadership Paragon is simply a model of excellence. That's what the word paragon means. And the Life Leadership Paragon includes 3 attributes or traits that synergistically create a fourth one. And those 3 traits are self-acceptance, self-responsibility, and respect for free will, and then they create the self-completeness, which is another word for self-actualization. And so we talked about self-acceptance already in the previous episode. Today we talk about personal responsibility or self-responsibility as another aspect of having a successful life. And this is, of course, a very, very important one. I want to talk about the 3 universal laws of personal responsibility as well. And so I'll integrate those 2. The first law I'll start with is really pretty obvious, isn't it? It's we are ultimately responsible for where we are in life, for our past choices and decisions and so forth. In other words, we're responsible for where we're at right here and right now. There's no other way. We have to assume responsibility. Let me kind of bring this into perspective a little bit. A number of years ago, jeepers, it's been about 20 years now, I was in St. Louis doing some training for a career I was in at the time, and I was in a room and I had my little temporary cubicle and desk there. I was there for a week. And on my desk there was this hutch, metal cabinet where I could store papers and things. One day I was on the phone, standing up, talking with a client, and I just happened to be looking inside this hutch. And on the inside, where you couldn't readily see it, I was kind of at an angle, I saw this thing stuck inside of this hutch. It was this little thing here. It has a mirror surface on it, has a magnetic back on it, and I looked at that thing and had it upside down, and printed on this mirror, it says, "I am looking at the person responsible for my future." And I looked at that and thought, oh, wow, that's good. I had never seen it presented that way before. And it really had an impact. I'm looking at the person responsible for my future. And of course, the mirror. And I thought about that a lot. It was a powerful presentation. You know, like things in life, presentations about everything. And I began to think about it and explore it, and I realized it was true in a number of ways. I'm looking at the person responsible for my future. Well, if that's true, then I'm also responsible for my past, right? So the first universal law is we are ultimately responsible for our actions, past, present, and future is the overall thing, but we're ultimately responsible for that. We can't blame it on anyone else. And a lot of times we try to do that. Well, if they hadn't have done this, or this person hadn't have done that, or if events hadn't have happened this way, we wouldn't be where we're at. You know, there are the rare exceptions where freak accidents, things like that happen, but you know, those are not very often. 99% of our life we are in control of, and it depends on our decisions. That's the first universal law of personal responsibility. We're ultimately accountable for our decisions and choices. And by the way, if you don't want to make proactive choices in your life, no problem. You live by the choices that other people make for you. So we need to be proactive in our choices. If you want your outside world to change, you got to change your inside world first, and that's what this whole video series is about. It's what all the videos are about that I make. It's about what the International Church of Metaphysical Humanism is about life skills. It's about leading a better, more successful life. So let's move on to the second universal law of personal responsibility, and that is don't expect other people to do for you the things that you should and could do for yourself. Don't expect other people to do our stuff for us. If we're responsible for it, then we take care of it. We don't try to get other people to do our stuff. It's really that simple. Don't expect other people to do the things that you could and should do for yourself. Now, there are times when we probably should do it, but we're not able to do it. Okay, we can ask, no problem. But by and large, don't expect others to do the things that you should be doing for yourself. Which leads us to the third universal law of personal responsibility, and it's a big one. Don't do things for other people that they could and should do for themselves. Doesn't mean you can't do a nice for people. It means don't practice doing things for other people that they could and should do for themselves. This is a big part of codependence. In fact, that is the definition of codependence. Codependent people are strong people. They can carry the weight of the world on their shoulders. And they basically practice doing things for other people that they could and should do for themselves. It's a part of a control tactic. And we'll talk about control in the next video. But this whole thing is enabling, if we practice that, it's enabling potentially unhealthy behavior in others. There's another aspect of this too. When we basically do things for other people that they could and should do for themselves, number one, we're depriving them of learning powerful life lessons that they probably need to learn. Secondly, when we do that, we are assuming control for another adult, and we don't have the right to do that. So we need to let people do their thing. Now, there are times when people should do something and they can't. And if we explore that and say, yes, I can help them out, and it will not enable poor behavior in them, then go ahead, do a nice, that's fine, no problem. But the bottom line is we just don't want to practice enabling unhealthy behavior in other people by doing the things for them that they ought to be doing. You can apply this at work too, in your career. If you're a manager, maybe you have an employee or several employees who just don't ever quite finish the job, and you have to step in and do it for them. Well, that's sending the message, hey, you don't have to finish it. I'll step in and do it for you. You don't want to send that message. You want to hold them to accountability and have them complete the jobs that they're supposed to complete. So that's the three universal laws of personal responsibility. And again, the idea behind the Life Leadership Paragon is to bring these things into a healthy balance. So in areas that we need to improve on accepting personal responsibility, we need to do that. And here's a little tip based on this little specialty item that I talked about, the mirror, that said, I'm looking at the person responsible for my future. 20 years ago, I wrote those words out on paper, printed them out on the computer, and I taped them to the mirrors in our bathrooms in our house. And our boys read those every day when they were in a bathroom, and it sunk in. It really did the trick. It worked really well. So there's an idea you might want to do, especially if you got kids at home. Type those out. I'm looking at the person responsible for my future, and tape them to the mirrors in your bathrooms. And that way your family will be reminded of that, and it will help them to grow up with that sense of personal responsibility. So I hope this has helped. Excellent things that will help us to really stand tall as adults. In the next video, we're going to talk about the third aspect of the Life Leadership Paragon, and that's respect for free will. And so that's coming up. If you like what you're hearing, appreciate it if you would like and subscribe to this channel, and we'll keep bringing these messages to you. We appreciate you taking the time to listen to us. And if you'd like more information about this subject, please visit our website. We have a couple. They're in the description. Our church website is metaphysicalhumanism.org. And we also have our school, metaphysicsinstitute.org, where we offer bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees in metaphysics in a variety of specialization areas. So, until the next video, listen, think, learn, grow, and live. Thank you very much.